and gentlemen, please welcome from HP, Vice President of Industry Standard Servers and Software, Scott Farrand.
Thank you. Well, good morning, and welcome to Day 3 of Red Hat Summit 2013. I'm Scott Farrand, and I'm responsible for all software on HP servers. I'm delighted to be here this morning, and I want to give you a little bit of a glimpse and a journey in the direction of where HP is headed in concert with Red Hat for extreme scaled computing environments. Together, we're ushering in a very new era here, fueled by interesting new innovations that are coming from all aspects of our industry. Before I dive in there, just a little bit of a brief recap of where Red Hat and HP have been in our journey together. For over 13 years, we've been partnered, and we've really made Linux on x86 cost-effective computing very viable in the enterprise. I think that goes without any dispute today. And along that journey, we've really been fueling the ideas of open computing, open source, and open environments such that we can bring together the industry's innovation and provide new great value to enterprise-class customers and others as well. And as we go forward, we continue this journey on open standards. Contemporary endeavors we're up to today are participating, in fact, founding members of the Open Virtualization Alliance. And we're also pressing forward on new technology and new microprocessors like ARM, for example. We're both participating in the Lenario group, so-called Lenario Enterprise Group, sort of the leg to go with the ARM. Maybe a little early for something like that. But as we continue our journey here, we're all about making these computing environments very appropriate for application environments and to help you drive the value you expect to do with your customers. Okay, well, a new style of IT is emerging. You see on the illustration here at least 4 megatrends that are really pervasive and really getting started here in the industry that we all participate in. Most of us today have some kind of smartphone strapped to our side, potentially a tablet in our bag, and we're busy consuming information and actually authoring information to our colleagues so that we can better stay contemporary and compete in the environments that your businesses are all in today. Very important aspect. And with the proliferation of those devices comes with it a back-end infrastructure requisite to supply that data, to connect all those people, the theme of the summit this year here, and to really provide the flexibility to grow and to shrink and to change with the business needs, and that's all about cloud computing. And then our personal lives and our professional lives are actually seeing a crossover these days. They're sort of intermingled. I don't know about your own personal habits, but when I showed up at the summit, I pulled down the smartphone app for the summit so I could see all the goings-ons here. I enlisted following the Red Hat Summit here so I could get little news quips on what's happening in real time. And as I'm browsing through that on my smartphone, I notice, one of my friends' latest news events here, so my personal and professional life have become somewhat intermingled with social media. I'm sure most of us are experiencing those kinds of things. It's actually establishing new business models, new ways for folks to advertise very specifically to us. And really driving a new feel, a new style of IT, if you will. In big data, all the buzz in our industry that we participate in together. Just a couple of days ago, Arvind Krishna with IBM was on the stage, and he talked about his journey, his automobile journey from New York City to Boston, and how he signed up at the rental car, given his flight challenges there, and they took his data and probably saved it off in some SQL database somewhere. And his journey along the freeway there, around on the tollway, they took pictures of him going through as they do everyone, so that ensure all the tolls were appropriately paid. And of course, JPEG files were created and stored somewhere in some blob, up in the cloud, if you will. And, he brought his GPS and pulled down some mapping technology to find out where all the right turns were and exits and those kinds of things. So that's just a single example of one guy, one day, taking a little journey, generating tens, possibly hundreds of megabytes of data in a few-hour journey, from New York City to Boston. And when you multiply that times all of us having similar little diatribes, little discussions around what we do in a given day, you can see why big data, the sorting, the searching, the collating, and the making it useful information to all of our consumers is just a very incredible explosion in today's world that we live in. And this is good stuff. This is accelerating markets so faster things can happen, and our abilities to provide value to our customers grow. There's new business opportunities that are being made all the time that these new styles of IT, these megatrends are generating. And so what's driving all this? Well, it's just an incredible time to be a part of the industry when it comes to innovation. And of course, we're all about that here at the Red Hat Summit. In order to compete, the pace of innovation has grown dramatically. You can see the statistics here. Just in this year, every given minute, 100,000 tweets have occurred. That means 500,000 tweets have occurred since I've been on this stage. I see one getting tweeted right now. And of course, applications are being authored and downloaded at incredible rates here. Ads are targeted to each of us, 400,000 in a given minute these days. And these are high-quality ads that are actually relevant to us that might inspire some of our consuming or buying behavior here. And sort of my favorite statistic, 200,000 people in the last minute played a game of Angry Birds. Wow, amazing. And then if you project forward in the forecast by the year 2020 here, 30 billion connected devices. Incredible. 40 trillion gigabytes of data, lots and 10 million apps, and a very interesting statistic. In terms of devices proliferated into the world by 2020, it's forecasted that there's a device for every single person on the earth. It's not clear all those devices are homogeneously divided amongst all the people, but 8 billion devices, very incredible. All this proliferation of devices, the connectivity expansion, the explosion of information, our industry has coined the term the Internet of Things. And so the Internet of Things is really current and in front of us as what our new world is all about that we live in, complete with that blurred line between consumers and professionals. All right, with all that goodness, with all that new value, with all that new business opportunity, becomes several challenges to be successful in making this useful, making this appropriate for all of our end consumers and users of the technology here. The Internet of Things is certainly inevitable, it's happening. What you see here illustrated is the power consumption issue, very, very acute. The 9 countries that are illustrated on this chart represent the largest consumers of power in the world. Once again, the United States looks like it's the winner. Not sure if it's good to be the winner of this particular contest or not. China a close second, and the rest of the 7 countries at the top consumers of power. But what if, go with me on this a little bit, what if we superimposed cloud computing on the largest country consumers of IT? What you would have is the 5th largest country consumer here. Cloud computing would be number 5 if we just isolated the power consumption there. That's a problem. The cost of that, the implications to the carbon footprint, there's legislation in Europe that even accounts for being a little bit more thrifty with power consumption, and very much a social issue as much as it is a cost issue. And if we would just take half of the power it takes to power the clouds of the world, we could actually power the entire United Kingdom with half of what it takes to power the clouds. That's pretty profound. So as all this information era grows with the Internet of Things and explodes, there's quite a significant series of challenges and issues that arise from that. So, very good, Scott. Thanks for that this early in the morning. What are we doing about that? So I give you Project Moonshot. This is a very exciting new program that we have going on at HP in concert with Red Hat. It's a revolutionary new server architecture and design. It's focused on applications at scale. The idea here is backends, typically in public clouds, often in private clouds on the premise of various enterprises. As we scale that backend infrastructure, oftentimes on high-quality x86 Xeon machines, Opteron machines, what have you, that's where a lot of the power consumption comes in. But what Moonshot is illustrated here on the chart, is a chassis with 45 plug-in cartridges. And those plug-in cartridges are one to many servers per cartridge. So you can have as few as 45 servers in this 4.3 U of high solution, or as many as 180 if you have 4 per cartridge here. And key to all of this is they're for targeted workloads. They're very specific for various workloads. We're starting out with web hosting, database sharding, memcache, big data management through Hadoop, and specialty applications and workloads that are created and authored by various organizations, perhaps that you even work in yourselves. And we're calling this software-defined servers. So, there's always a new buzzword in the industry that we're excited to go talk about. Well, software-defined servers in this context means the server is running the specific workload or application that's appropriate for whatever your use case may be in a large-scale data center here. So that's what software-defined servers is. And the net effect of all this is tremendous savings. Way less space consumed. These are very dense solutions. Way less cost associated with that. And I'm proud to say 1/10 the energy consumption of alternative larger scale processors in the data centers that are quite prevalent today, of which HP is a fine provider of. Okay, so just let's take a quick, brief look at the anatomy of a moonshot, if you will. First of all, the enclosure contains a chassis manager, sort of the brain that orchestrates how to engage and manage all of these cartridges that are in the server. You can see a little cartridge pulled up there, one of the 45. Now, that chassis manager has the ability to drop a payload of new firmware on there and fan it out to all the machines in an orchestrated, meaningful, non-disruptive way, such that all the components can be flashed very conveniently. In fact, in parallel to the Red Hat Summit, HP has a trade show going on in Las Vegas right now, and being displayed there is Moonshot updating firmware to 135,000 servers in less than 30 seconds. Now, don't try that at home. I don't necessarily recommend flashing 135,000 servers in firmware in one sitting, but the capability exists to do smart and fast updates and rollouts. We'd also maintain a serial connection to each of these servers through this chassis manager in a headless fashion. Each cartridge can have a solid-state drive or a rotating media hard drive attached to it for direct attached storage, which you recognize most scale-out applications are direct attached storage applications. And dual redundant Ethernet fabrics are wired throughout the chassis there, 10 gigabit stackable, 6 of those for uploading traffic, and the traffic can all be isolated such that a chassis can home a multi-tenant scenario with multiple different organizations living inside one chassis. So you can see how this Moonshot is designed for applications at scale addressing some of the most critical problems. Now, we're growing a library of these cartridges because they're software defined, so each server for a particular workload. So think about how this is different than your father's x86 machine. in the sense that if I'm going to go run web front ends or I'm going to run a Hadoop job, I want to select my cartridge that's optimal for that workload. Heretofore, we think of farms of x86 machines as general purpose computing devices, probably standardized on a couple of models in your shop, scaled them wildly in your organization, your data center, and then you pick whatever application you need to make that go. In this case, you're picking your server cartridges to match the application or the workload you want to run. And again, we're initially targeting dedicated web hosting, web front ends, Memcache, big data, Hadoop specialty accelerators, ARM-based microprocessors typically have other functionality like DSPs affixed to the traditional processing capability of the ARM, giving rise to very specific new workloads that can be optimized for these types of cartridges, etc. We can even have dedicated client solutions for running Windows 8.1 or your favorite client operating system dedicated to you in the back office with the sessions remoted to your tablet device, your smartphone, perhaps your thin client, etc. here. And so, I hold in my hot little hand here the first Moonshot cartridge. Ooh. Little spot for the hard drive there. And we're on this journey creating a big library of these things to address the challenges of large scale. Let me just describe 3 customers, 3 use cases that are already deploying Moonshot here. This solution's been available just since May, so it's pretty fresh here. LeaseWeb is busy creating an entry-level web hosting environment where they're dedicating a single cartridge to a single customer. So instead of stacking them up on virtual machines, nothing wrong with that, they're dedicating a per server, per customer solution. Very interesting little use case there for this. HP IT is using Moonshot to run HP.com on. And a large bank, we won't mention the names here, but they're finding a very interesting use case. They're routing traffic into a Moonshot chassis using the series of cartridges to deep packet inspect the traffic that's coming across, looking for compliancy issues, and assuming none, routing it back to wherever that traffic was destined here. So here's some very initial, interesting use cases with very specific software-defined workloads on a Moonshot that have already started. Let me speak just a little bit more about that second customer, one I know a lot about. First of all, at HP, we're often using our own technology in our IT here to prove it out, if you will, and get started there. What you see here is currently we're seeing about 12 million hits a day, and we're serving up static web pages, proxying them through a Moonshot solution here. And truthfully, the Moonshot solution is only partially populated with cartridges to get that job done. Where we're headed to in just a few weeks is moving all of the traffic of HP.com to Moonshot, which would be sustaining over 700,000 simultaneous and concurrent users, serving up 35,000 page views per second. And of course, the key point here, at far, far less, 1/10 the power consumption of the rows and racks of 1U machines that have been hosting this website actually for the last decade or so. So very excited about seeing the fruits of this savings in our scaled environments. And frankly, 35,000 page views per second, you can make a personal decision if you consider that wildly scaled or not. Certainly there are examples of much higher scale requirements in the industry today. We at HP know that we serve 8 of the 10 largest web infrastructures on the planet today with our offerings. Okay, well, ushering in a new era, a new paradigm is not an easy thing that I'm speaking to you today. And HP is no stranger to this. We've moved from the mini computing era to distributed computing, client-server computing, to the web era, and now the cloud era. And now as we go to the extreme level of scale, we understand that there's quite a infrastructure required to produce such an ecosystem. And so we have the Pathfinder Innovation Program at HP. And in that program, our partners, our customers can come into our labs, characterize their workload on assorted cartridges to define and measure the most appropriate cartridge flavor for any particular workload. Some of our silicon partners are actually designing cartridges. Some of our customers are co-designing cartridges specifically for their workload with HP and our silicon partners. And you can see in that second column a list of folks participating in the Pathfinder Innovation Labs. And when all that R&D work is done, the next step is to capture all of that results in the form of information, white papers, solution briefs, give those and make those readily available to customers so that they can consume all of this. And the last column up here, the support side, consultancy support, consultancy services, both all the way upstream in the R&D development lab, all the way out to deploying in a customer site is available from HP to help folks get started on their journey, those that are interested in getting that cost way down. A little statistic, just to underscore the problem we're addressing here, is that in data centers today, by far and away, the largest cost, in fact, 70% on average of all cost of the data center is power. And I'm talking the building of the data center, the populating it with IT equipment, the operational people that are in there running that data center. If you're scaled, 70% of that cost is still power. So I think it's not hard to vision with me the idea of cutting that by 89%, 1/10 the cost is certainly a place to go that is very meaningful here and very much worth the journey for most of our customers that have extreme scaled computing environments. So very, very exciting set of steps we're taking here. And of course, we're taking this journey with Red Hat. HPIT and the customers we described here are running Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6.4 on this first cartridge. And as we continue the journey of where we've been to where we're headed on Moonshot, we're working together to ensure the best Red Hat solutions are available for this. And in fact, as we think about the ARM-based cartridges, as I had mentioned, Red Hat and HP are working together and with industry in an industry consortium called Lenario Leg to ensure the Linux kernel has support for the new SoCs that are coming to market by the various manufacturers of ARMS-based solutions here. And so that's a very key thing that we're up to together. And Red Hat, of course, is taking the classic normal development path whereby the first instances of 32-bit and 64-bit ARM solutions will be prevalent in the Fedora offerings, and then from there make their ways into offerings subsequent to that. Well, I've spent all my time talking about extreme scale in Moonshot. That's not the only thing we're up to. I invite you to visit HP in booth 1070 when the show floor opens back up. There you can see Moonshot in action. Been a very popular section of the booth for HP in the show so far. We're also showing mission-critical computing, migrating Unix to Linux on x86 computing. We call that Product Odyssey at HP. You can see that in our booth. There's also a very exciting Insight Control infrastructure management plugin to the RevM console, the overt console from Red Hat for managing Rev, both the hardware side of that through the Insight Control and, of course, Rev itself through the overt RevM console. You can see that on the show floor. Of course, the great Red Hat storage solution is certified with a very exciting new highly scaled storage server called the ProLiant SL4500. That's out there. Our flagship private cloud solution, HP Cloud System, is completely integrated in and supported with RHEL and with KVM from Red Hat. and you can speak to many at our booth about all the service offerings that we have to make you successful in these various environments here. So I want to thank Red Hat for having HP here at the show and giving us a chance to talk about some of the things that we're doing together here this morning. And I want to thank you for coming to the early opening session after the exciting parties and things that were going on last night, and wishing you a very great Red Hat Summit 2013, the rest of the show. Thank you much.